Good day. I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor. Greenburgh is a community that always has welcomed diversity, and we try to be a community that includes people of different ethnicities, races, and backgrounds. And today, my guest is Saboor Syed, and Saboor is a Muslim, and we're going to be talking about the role the Muslim community plays in Greenburgh and in Westchester County, and if we are a welcoming community. So maybe first you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. Thank you for having me today. I'm Saboor Syed. Personally speaking, I've been a resident of the village of Ardsley for 20 plus years now, but I've been a Westchester and Greenburgh resident for almost 30 years now. We've raised two kids, my wife and I. We are fresh empty nesters. One is still in college, about to finish. About 35 odd years ago, I came to the US for college and decided to stay here. My first...
What country were you from?
I'm originally from Pakistan. I was born in UK, but then my parents who were from Pakistan went back, and I was raised in Pakistan in a city, southern border, Karachi, a huge cosmopolitan place. So that's what my background really is. My wife is also from Pakistan, and we've been in Ardsley for 20 some years now.
Right. My parents, when I was in high school, they took my sister and me to Pakistan. So I'll never forget that trip. And I remember
excellent.
Going right to the Khyber Pass and looking over Afghanistan.
Right.
I attended an event that the Muslim community sponsored in Ardsley recently to celebrate the Ramadan holiday, and I sort of was surprised. I attended the event last year. The turnout was really large. Were you surprised? And for a community like Ardsley, to have such a great turnout, were most of the people from Ardsley and Greenburgh?
Yes, and it was a surprising, but not so much, because we first did the inaugural event of Crescent Lighting was last year, and we were pleasantly surprised. It was a huge turnout, immense support from the village of Ardsley, the multicultural committee. Of course, you were there. The Greenburgh was very supportive. Our PTSA has been very supportive. Lots of elected officials were there. The members of other religious groups were there. So it was a very reassuring feeling that we indeed achieved what we wanted to, which is to show our kids that this is home. We belong here and we feel belonged. That's where this whole initiative of doing events around Eid and Ramadan came from.
It was sort of interesting because the rabbi of my synagogue, Rabbi Mara Young, also attended, and when I listened to her and when I listened to the speakers, I said, wouldn't it be nice if the world was like Ardsley? Because here you have a community where Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, people of all different faiths are getting along. Why is it working locally, but it's not working internationally?
I think there are a variety of factors. I think when you are local and you're vested into your neighborhoods and your communities, you have a better appreciation. And when you are away from the epicenters of these different value systems, I think it's easier in a way, because you get to appreciate when you get to know somebody. That's what I always say, if you don't know somebody, go and break a bread with them, invite them over, spend time, see who they are, what they believe in, what kind of things they value, what is their priority. And this is where it all stemmed from. In recent past, we felt that there was a lot of people who were scared, who were unsure what was going on around the world, and whether we like it or not, through osmosis, sometimes things translate within the community. And we felt that we, as Muslim community, didn't have the voice to present who we are. There's, of course, a monolith that people understand, but what people fail to recognize that is there's a huge diversity within Islam. I mean, we are 2 billion or in population, spread across 3 continents and a variety of countries. I mean, if you put 5 different Muslims on a bench, they won't even know that they are Muslims. They'd dress differently, eat differently, speak completely different languages. So there's huge diversity, and that can only be communicated when you get out there, celebrate, and show what's common amongst people. What do they share? And I think that is what's happened, and this is unique in the case of Greenburgh and case of Ardsley. And as I said, we feel very reassuring that everybody around us, the whole ecosystem feels that way.
It seems like there's many residents of Ardsley, and especially Edgemont also, who are from India or Pakistan. How come our area has attracted so many Muslims and Pakistanis and Indians? What makes this a community that has become a destination point for people?
I think first and foremost, the fact that it is a diverse community. So diversity invites other people to feel comfortable to make a home, right, and raise children in that community. Of course, there are other factors which are important to parents, schooling, proximity to healthcare, and indeed New York's proximity. But I think most importantly, it's the welcoming nature of the diverse community. We all understand where we came from, what kind of hardships we dealt with in our different ways, and those hardships could be very different, but you can empathize. And that's why, I can speak of Ardsley. We are, I think, around about 25 Muslim families that I know of. We are, from India, from Pakistan, from Albania, from Turkey, and of course, United States, local Muslims. We are physicians, business owners, teachers, we work in the corporate world, in the IT sector. It's a huge gamut of professions. But what invites us here in this community is the diversity of the community, who recognizes and values the difference, not as an otherness, but in a similar way. What do we share amongst each other?
When my grandfather came to the United States from Poland, a lot of Jewish residents, immigrants, changed their name and made it more Anglo, made it sound Anglo so they would fit in and not be discriminated.
Indeed.
In terms of, your name, it's obviously from a foreign country. Have you experienced any discrimination either locally or in New York or professionally?
So professionally, I don't think I have. I've been very lucky in that sense, I guess. I have not. I know of other people who have, but I have not. But I can say that there are some microaggressions which to me stem from lack of knowing someone. When you don't know, you're tempted to go by the stereotype. But if you spend time, invest, to get to know a person or a community, you soon discover they're the same. They have same issues, same problems. They have same cares that they care for in raising children, professional, personal, and what have you. I have been very lucky, I've not had, but of course the Muslim community, as we all know, has endured quite a few issues, especially after 9/11. But I think in last, I would say, 10 or so years, we've come around, especially in New York, where we feel that people recognize that there's not a monolith. There are people, different beliefs. I mean, they're different in politics from left to right. In Westchester, by and large, I would say most of the Muslims are progressive. But people have gotten to know each other and things are improving. I think in last 2 years, there's a lot of pressure for things happening away from home. But I think that's where comes the opportunity to get to know each other and share where you stand, what your position is. You don't have to agree, but just know there's a valid concern. It's not in any way negatively prepositioned.
In terms of Westchester, is there like a Muslim center? And if somebody is watching this and they're not aware of an organization that they could join?
Yeah, so actually there are quite a few. The first Muslim center was constructed, it's still very much there and active in the community, is in Mount Vernon. There is one rather large Islamic center in Pleasantville, which actually used to be a synagogue, and the Jewish community helped the Muslim community acquire that, and now they are a very established place. And then there are smaller mosques. There's one in White Plains, there are two, I think, in Yonkers. Mosques are, of course, a place to worship, but they are also a community where people get together. So they function as a place where you go and pray, but they also function as a gathering place of people gathering on festive occasions or connecting with other communities and inviting them over.
In terms of Ramadan, when we had the ceremony, could you tell us a little bit about Ramadan and
Sure.
why it's so significant?
Yeah, so I think people are very familiar with the notion of fasting. We fast on Yom Kippur, there's Lent, of course, and then in Buddhism and Hinduism also we have fasts. So similarly, in Ramadan, Muslims fast. And then Ramadan is the 9th month. It's very sacred to Muslims because they believe that the divine scripture or Quran was revealed in that particular month. We are asked to fast from dawn to dusk. And it's at the very basic, it is indeed fasting. You can't drink or eat from dawn to dusk while getting along with your daily routines, whether as a student or at work professionally speaking. But it's beyond a lot of that. You are supposed to do a lot of charity work, connect with the communities. It's a time to disconnect with the daily regimen and see and appreciate what you have, and in turn, what others don't. So you would see in Muslim communities a lot of charity, community work happening during Ramadan, feeding the hungry, clothing the people who are in need, and those kinds of things. So that's what Ramadan is, but at the end of it, it's a time for spiritual reflection, devotion.
Right. And are you involved also in the Ardsley Diversity Committee?
So I personally am not, but I've worked closely with them on different projects. But I have peers on this group who is putting together the festival or the Crescent Lighting, who've been part of the Diversity Committee. There's a lot of good work that's happening, and everybody participates different ways. But that Diversity and Multicultural Committee has done a lot of work to bring.
It's been really amazing because I think it sets the tone of positivity. And I think that when there's a different group, since every group has opportunity to highlight their festivities and lifestyles, it makes it easier to encourage everybody to participate and learn about everybody else.
Right, and in celebration and sharing these events, you get to know how similar you are, right? You may be celebrating something else, but the underneath body is the same. So I think, contemporaneously, there's a lot of question about DAI, as we know, but I think diversity is not taking away from somebody. It's actually bringing others on the front so that everybody gets to partake and get to know each other. It's not at all taking away something from somebody. It's sharing at the root.
Were some of the members of your community efforts, do they have family that wanted to come to the United States but now can't because of the president's policies. In fact, there was somebody who emailed me recently that their family member can't come to the United States to attend somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
Have you had that?
I actually, for work, I was visiting Texas, and I met a family friend who was telling me just that they have a wedding coming up, and they fear that some of the relatives coming from India would not be able to make it. It's all new. We are hearing of certain things happening, but we'll see where everything pans out. But yes, there is definitely a palpable concern that people who would like to come cannot come, or who traditionally come. I mean, my in-laws come every other year to spend time with grandchildren, and I'm not so sure whether they'll be able to come or feel comfortable in this environment, right? So a lot of that concern is there.
Right, I guess if you're looking at it from like Pakistan, then you feel, oh, you're coming to the United States, it's going to be dangerous. It seems scary because you hear all the negativity.
Right, right. And especially for the elderly, the family members, it's just, they don't want to deal with it. They're of a certain age, they can't, deal with what we are hearing about. So hopefully things would stabilize and good sense will prevail.
Right, and hopefully, like you said, everything will will calm down.
Right.
Have you reached out to any of the congressional representatives in terms of advocacy?
Yes, we have. We have written to them. Some have gotten back to us. They share our concern. We have to work hard to create alternative voices in the Congress. Right now, there's a complete control of one voice. So I think we all need to work to make sure there are diversity of voices and opinions. Therefore, I think we need to connect with politicians and connect and participate in elections and make sure that the diverse voices are heard.
Yeah, I just can't understand why members of Congress have basically given up and let one person, the President of the United States, make all the policies. We elect Congress people to, this is a democracy.
Yeah, I mean, some of us are born here, some of us have come here all the way, voting with our feet for a system, and now it all of a sudden feels like what we left behind. So I hope people will recognize, and it's okay to swing from one side to the other. It also is an opportunity to learn what works and what does not. And I think it'll make us appreciate what we don't have, and therefore work harder to get some of those things in place.
Right. In terms of, are there people in the community that are converting and becoming Muslims, or are most of the people that are, that and have worked with, they just were born into the religion, came from Pakistan and India or the Middle East?
Islam in the United States is rather old. I think the first documented Muslims were, I think, around Toledo, if I'm not mistaken, from 1800s. So there's a huge U.S. Population who are Muslim. A lot of them have converted in recent times, but they're also generational Islam in the United States. But then, as you said, a lot of people have immigrated from these different countries, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, and of course, local U.S. citizens. I have not encountered too many conversions in our community. But yes, over the last 30 some odd years that I've been here, I've seen 3 or 4 conversions myself. But that doesn't mean that's the totality of the universe. But beyond conversion, we're a very welcoming community. So people come, spend time, get to know each other. I have attended quite a few interfaith events at our mosques, at synagogues, at churches over the years.
Right. In terms of the Association of Muslims in, say, Greenburgh or Westchester, what other services, are provided to people who participate?
I think there's, I mean, I'm not aware of any specific services necessarily, but I think the biggest thing is to recognize the community, that they are, you know, citizens of the larger populace, and recognize what they believe in, how do they participate. It's, at the end of the day, it's for the children who are American, who are born here, who are, you know, multi-generational Americans, whose parents and grandparents were born here, to feel that they belong, right? And this is where, you know, 7 or 8 families in Ardsley started that we needed a voice to bring about. And that's where this whole notion of doing crescent lighting at the beginning of Ramadan and celebrating Eid, which is a festival that celebrates culmination of Ramadan, came about. And last year we had such a tremendous support from the general public, elected officials and what have you, that other than the crescent lighting, which went very well, we couldn't actually do what we had planned for the rest of the event because there was just massive turnout. So this year what we have done, we did do the crescent lighting. You were there, of course, and the crescent is built by the school kids of Ardsley, designed by them. It is a beautiful thing, and if you have not seen it, it'll be around for the next couple of days or just about a week. But we are doing a separate Eid festival. So Eid is a celebration, successful completion of Ramadan. It really translates to a festival. In different cultures, people do different things. And the morning starts with a prayer of, you know, thankfulness. But then in certain cultures, people go and visit elders. In certain cultures, they go and visit cemeteries to pray for the departed. In others, they just go into the neighborhood, distribute sweets. I know in Pakistan, you go to your grandparents who give small money, which is called ED, to kids. But you just get together for some fun activities. And that's why we're doing this Eid festival on April 27th, where all and everyone is invited. It's not just meant for Muslims, everybody is invited. It's a festival with stalls, a lot of food trucks. Irvington Delight is there, there's a Caribbean food truck, and there are a couple of other ones. There'd be stalls with henna, tattoos, a lot of information booths, calligraphy, and a lot of different fun activities, giveaway for kids, games. So it's April 27th from 2 to 6 in Pascone Park in Ardsley.
What could I be doing that I'm not to make the community feel more welcome?
I think which you have done, so it's not something additional, but I think to be involved with the community, get to know them, bring them to the table, see where their point of view is, let them voice their issues. In a democracy, you have to have exchange of ideas. And we see what, even, you know, relating to what's happening in Washington, there's now not just a political divide, but a chasm. Nobody talks to each other. They literally hate. So that's the worst and undermining thing for democracy. And I think for Muslims, we like to follow the same. We like to sit down and talk. Whether we agree or not agree, that's not important. Exchange of ideas is important. As an elected official, I think that's what needs to be ensured, which you have done remarkably, and we're very grateful for that.
And I guess it's respecting each other's differences and different backgrounds, and not to prejudge.
Indeed. And interestingly, when you do that, you find out there are not many differences to be there, right? You find a lot of commonality. That's what I even find in the town, you know, when I basically tell people, you know, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, even, you know, and you have the dialogue, then people are very open, you know, nobody's perfect, and I think people are more forgiving if they understand what you're doing and they trust that you're honestly trying to do the right thing. Indeed. I think lack of knowledge, lack of knowing somebody breeds concern, breeds ignorance, breeds otherness. The moment you know somebody, you know, you have a lunch with them or dinner or just go on a hike, on a walk with them, you find out there's so much more common. in their vulnerabilities as much as what they stand for. And that's the only thing that brings us together.
When you lived in Pakistan, could you tell us a little bit about life in Pakistan when you grew up?
So that was 30 some odd years ago. I was a young guy. I grew up in Karachi, which is a cosmopolitan city. Now it has like 28, 26 million people. Then I think it was like 18 or something. Huge, huge city. Very urban. In Karachi is like New York of Pakistan. So we had people from different parts of Pakistan who spoke different languages, very diversity. It's a linguistically very rich place, as you know, the entire subcontinent of South Asia is. So life was very interesting. I grew up, my mom was a teacher, a professor, and my dad was a lawyer. So we had debates growing up on all and everything that you can think of at the dining table.
When you came, when you decided that you wanted to study here, did your parents, were they thrilled or were they upset?
Oh, they were delighted. Both my parents had studied abroad. They went to UK for their studies. My mom is a zoologist, my dad, as I said, a lawyer. So they were always in favor. Education is number one in our
But they went back to Pakistan.
They did choose to go back.
So did they? So do many of the? Did you think that you'd be going back, or did you think you were going to stay?
I'm going to stay.
No, but I'm talking about when you originally.
I came with the notion of
understanding
staying. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. If we only have a short time left, if people want to get involved, or if they have questions, is there like a website or contact information?
Yeah, I mean, they're more than welcome to contact me. We don't have a website just yet. We're still in infancy as a group. But I'd say do come to the Eid Festival on April 27th, 2 to 6 in Pascone Park. You'll have plenty of people who you can connect with. Ask them to be involved. You're our neighbor. You're from a neighboring town. Please come and spend time with us. And reach out to Supervisor Feiner, and he knows how to get in touch with me, and we'll go from there. But thank you so much for spending this time.
And thank you very much, and I encourage everybody to attend your festivities because it's really inspiring, and it's also nice to see the community come together, and for people in Greenburgh to be welcoming of different religions and different backgrounds and different ethnicities. And again, if we talk to each other and learn about each other's backgrounds, hopefully it will encourage everybody to get along and to have
Absolutely.
better feelings. So thank you very much for participating in this interview, and best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
Feel free to
Appreciate it.
contact me anytime I can be of help.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take
Great.
care.